Hi everyone, thanks so much for streaming into our Ask Me Anything session. I'll just leave a few minutes to let everyone stream in first. Okay, maybe I'll just leave it for one more minute. Oh, sorry. Just realized my video is not on. Okay. All right, let me see. Okay. I think we have 6 of us joining today. It's a nice intimate session for our Ask Me Anything. And for this session today, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have with regards to getting started on Amazon all the way down to actually successfully launching you as a seller. So let me get started. I did prepare like quite a few slides for you to get some basics down for Amazon. So a little bit about myself. I am from the Amazon Global Selling team, and I manage the new seller recruitment with regards to sellers coming from Southeast Asia. So this could be Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and Cambodia. And we actually provide account management support and merchandising opportunities to new high potential professional selling partners. So if you are one of the sellers, that's how you got this email to be invited to this Ask Me Anything session. And we want to actually keep this forum open as well. So feel free to put in your questions as I go through the slides quickly. So before we get into the details, as mentioned, you can put in your questions here to submit it into the chat box or the Q&A box. And if you'd like to voice out, feel free to do so by raising your hand and I can allow you to unmute yourself and we can have like a nice discussion as well. Okay, so to get started for sellers, it's best that you understand that there are 4 main steps to getting started to sell on Amazon, especially in the North America market, which is the .com. The first is you want to make sure that you are already sourcing your products or even thinking about sourcing the right type of products you want to sell. And there are actually tools out there that are very useful that you can leverage on for this. For example, if you were to use like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout, there are actually tools that can help you provide like the necessary guidance on what you could be selling next or even what you could already look into selling. So when it comes to the sourcing your products, we've also run several webinars on Amazon itself together with our service provider network partners. And this SPN partners, they actually can help with the sourcing of the products depending on the country you are interested to source from. So I know we've actually ran some webinars from India, China, and Indonesia. So I'll see if I'll put in the link after I'm done with this presentation. Okay, the second thing you need to think about is about listing your products, which comes right after you've already found the right product to sell. Once you prepare your product information, following the guidelines that's provided, and I will go through the listing guideline after this, then you actually can put in your products either whether you want to do it in bulk or one by one. So that is under product listing. Interestingly, the good thing about using Seller Central for your listing upload is should you expand to other marketplaces, you can actually use our internal tool called Build International Listing to actually copy or port over the same listing into other marketplaces. So you don't have to like redo the whole process. So that's something on the listing side of things. And then the third part is you can actually fulfill your orders by Fulfillment by Amazon. This is a channel that we highly encourage all sellers to use, because then it will make sure that your products are also Prime eligible. So make sure that when you want to do your fulfillment, FBA is definitely the way to go. But I'll also share another way to do fulfillment for yourself as a seller in the next slide. And after that, it goes to the most important part, which is going into launch, and you actually start selling your product and promoting your products on the platform. So this is something that you will definitely need to rely on sponsored products, which is more of the merchandising tools on Amazon when you are selling on the site. Okay, so a little bit more about how sellers can get started on Amazon. The first way, which is FBA, was what I shared about earlier, but let me start with fulfillment by merchant, whereby the sellers, you yourself have to prepare each order whenever a customer places an order, and you have to do the shipment. Now, while there are pros and cons about this, because then you don't have to think about like storage fees or fulfillment fees, what you need to understand is your account health is actually quite related, quite linked to how fast you fulfill the order. So you need to also make sure that you have a very strict like schedule of when you need to do the shipment, so that you don't get like at risk, or your account gets into the at-risk position, which is not something we want. Okay, but the good thing about it is you actually get to provide your customers a return address to your back to your warehouse, but you still have to make sure that you pay the international shipping costs to get back from where you intend to send it to. Whereas if you do fulfillment by Amazon, Amazon is the one that processes, packs, and delivers on behalf of the seller. So we manage basically all the fulfillment and logistical needs. And Amazon actually answers all your customer queries on behalf of the seller in any local language that they are chatting in from within a 24-hour period. So should you decide to go on holiday, but you still want your business to run, FBA is definitely the way, because we help you manage your seller movement and also your seller communication. Okay, and Amazon also manages the return process. It goes back to the fulfillment center, and then you wish to get those items returned back to you, that's something that you can arrange on the platform itself. Okay, so for new sellers such as yourself, there's a few brand registry benefits that you can definitely, there's a few new seller incentives that you can look at. Just scan the QR code I've provided. Some examples of these benefits, and I know there's a bit of changes that recently happened, but you actually can get brand registry benefits if you're a brand owner. And this is like a 5% bonus for your first 1 million in branded sales. You also get like $100 credit for transparency, which is one of the categories under brand registry. For FBA, you get 90 days free storage on 50 units or 30 for oversized units, and you also get $200 off your first fulfillment fees. So I think this is something that you can take note of. Lastly, you also get advertising benefits. You get $200 credit for sponsored products and $50 credit for coupons, which is very, very empirical. As a seller, if you're already one, or if you're a new seller, it's important that you know that you can actually get these credits because this is what drives your sales forward. Now I can see in the chat group from Mr. Wong, what is the significance of buy box win? Okay, so you actually get buy box the moment you are already signed up on FBA, because your product is FBA eligible and you win the buy box. And what is significant is when anybody clicks your product, when they are on Amazon, you actually can already see the pricing on the right hand side, you know, where there's the pricing and then at the bottom there's the buy now. That is what a buy box is. So that's why it's very important that you get the buy box, because then if not, sellers will not have visibility to see the pricing of your product. So then if they don't see the pricing, they don't know what they will be paying for until they click the checkout now kind of process. So just make sure that that's something that you cover. I hope that answered your question, Mr. Wong, and then I'll continue with my presentation. So, as you've all probably heard some buzz, and we've had several webinars about this already, Prime Day is actually the biggest 2-day sale period that will be happening upcoming. The dates are not out yet, but this Prime Day is actually the best opportunity for you to benefit on the existing marketing efforts that we're already doing. We also make sure that as a seller, want to have sufficient inventory to meet all your customer demands, the cutoff date for your FBA is the 20th of June. So if you have not done and looking at how it's already going to be mid of May, do ship your products as soon as possible. If you're doing sea shipment, it typically takes quite long, so you should start shipping by now. If you're doing by air, that will take a slightly shorter time, but we highly encourage you to start shipping as soon as possible to prepare for this demand hike. Okay, and then you also want to improve the discoverability of your brand and product. So it's not just sufficient to just put your stock and just leave it be. You need to make sure that you're also running promotional tools such as deals or PD, coupons. Deals could be like lightning deal, whichever that appears on your console, your advertising console. This is something that we highly encourage you to do. And lastly, make sure that your listings are optimized, because with high quality images and really good detail pages, that's what really will drive the conversion for the sale of your products. Okay, I'm just going back to the question. So I'm just going to be going in and out once I see the question. So where the post display in Amazon and outside Amazon? Mr. Wong, are you referring to like engine optimization, like search word optimization with regards to your post display? Regina was asking, hi, will we still be able to ship our items to FBA Fulfillment Center after 20th June? Of course, it's just that it's not eligible for the Prime Day offer. So we highly encourage you to put in your shipment before then. But yeah, it's just that to be qualified for Prime eligible offer, you need to be within the before 20th June period. And do bear in mind, there's also like queuing time to get into the fulfillment center, because everybody is doing the same, right? Stocking up. So you just want to like prepare to do it earlier. Yeah, so you, Mr. Wong, you're talking about brand store, is it? For brand store information, I will put in some links after this, after I'm done with the slides, and then we can have more of a chat about it. Let me also quickly go into the Q&A. Can someone steal, from Alex, can someone steal your buy box if you already have brand registration? So you're talking about brand registry. That is no, because they can't even steal your product identity in the first place, because you've already protected your brand name. So that is not something that's possible. But you can lose your buy box if you downgrade your account, or if you decide to like if you're registering your product that does not have that's not brand registered. So there's a chance that you will not be eligible. Another one is if you do MFN, highly likelihood that there's no buy box. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So Soumya, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrongly. We have listed our products newly in Amazon US. We are SG-based company selling supplement probiotics. That's good. We are looking for third-party compliance help to obtain FDA and IOR facilitation for Amazon US FBA. Are the ones listed in Amazon third-party page recommended by Amazon, are they trustworthy and reliable? Yes. Yes. No, Seller Central is not pro partner network. So I will put in a link after this for the service provider network. That's actually a specific link. It's still within Seller Central. But yes, all those are actually Amazon partnered providers that we have worked on a partnership and established like a relationship with. So they are definitely trustworthy and reliable. You can use that source. One good one for your particular purpose is Registrar Corp. Can I also check, Samia, have you already, is this your own brand or are you a reseller? Maybe you can answer that for me first and I'll go back to this. Okay, so other than Prime Day preparation, and also the important dates that I shared, which is the 20th of June, you want to also make sure that you have all the necessary the listing is already up before you also create the shipment plan, right? And then you want to make sure that your listing is optimized. We also want to make sure that you as a seller are better prepared to handle the Prime Day, the crowd, and also how to manage it better and how to get the sales that you intend to target for the Prime Day period. So if you just scan the QR code, you will actually be brought to the page for our webinars that's upcoming. We should have one more session coming up on the 14th of June, which is the Prime Day checklist and merchandising tools. So please sign up. And if you have not heard back, if you have not managed to catch the rest of them, we'll be sending out like a recording in our upcoming mailers. So do make sure that you check out your mailers, because we do update quite a bit on Prime Day as well. Okay. Yeah, so I think my colleague Ije, who's also in this call, she is answering to some of your questions, it looks like. Okay, so Soumya, since you're your brand owner, have you already done brand registry? Okay, your brand is registered in SG. We are specifically looking for compliance guide. Okay, then I think for compliance, you can look for Registrar Corp. I will type, yeah, I think Ija is typing that to you. And yeah, I would recommend, if you want to sell into .com, that you get your trademark done in the US, for the US market. So that one can be done through our IP accelerator. I'll put in the link for that after. Why? Because right now your product is only protected in Singapore because of your trademark, your brand name and everything. And should you not have trademark in the US, you actually risk your account being people can actually like infringe onto your account and stuff. So we want to make sure you protect your brand in the US as well. They are separate. So every marketplace has their own form of compliancy and trademark also.
So Win, let me just add on to what you've shared with Soumya regarding the FDA and IOR certification. So there are two ways in which you can get the IOR certification. So one is like what Win have shared, you can reach out to your third parties logistics providers. They should be able to advise you on the costing as well as the type of information that is required for your IOR. Alternatively, I think I have also replied Soumya's question with the service provider network. So in the SPN group, you should be able to see custom services that can help you to advise on the IOR services. So hope that answered your question, Soumya. Yep, Win, you can continue.
Thanks so much, Ije. So yes, we've already covered a little bit actually about IOR and also with regards to your service provider network. And then just to recap one last time, make sure that you also do your brand registry and also trademark in the US, because if you're selling on .com, you want to protect your brand in the .com, not with a Singapore brand registry, okay? Because they are separate. Registrar Corp for FDA. Let me put in the link for you. 1 second. Yeah, I'll put in the link for you after I'm done with the slides, because then I'll switch my accounts. Sorry about that. I'm just using one laptop today. Okay. Cool. All right. So today I'll be going through a few agenda topics, but I've also provided a QR code here for your convenience. So you can actually use the QR code on the leftmost for your, if you're a new seller on Amazon and you're looking to see where to get started. I can see some of the participants today, they are not so unfamiliar, the names. I've seen them a few times. I've seen Tom, Soumya, I've seen you before, Jason and Mr. Wong. So really nice to see you guys. We also have Elvin. I've probably seen your name here before. Alex and Elizabeth, you guys are new, so feel free to say hi and put your questions in. And then we also have the listing guide here. You can scan this QR code if you want to find out like a very easy guide approach from start to finish on how you can get started on listing. I saw that that was one of the questions that is troubling some of you guys. And then we also have our Seller University. So if you are looking to upskill yourself and understand more about Seller Central and selling on Amazon, Seller University is the best place to get started with. And lastly, we have the Service Provider Network. So just now the link that Ije shared with Soumya, you can also get access to that link just by scanning this Service Provider Network QR code. Okay, and then The next thing that I will also briefly run through later will be the Amazon pricing. So there's also fees associated to selling on Amazon, which we will list out and I'll share about later. We also have the new seller incentives that I shared about. As a new seller, within your first 30 days, you're also eligible for this new seller incentive. And lastly, we have the trademark and brand registry guideline. So Soumya, this is something that you can scan if you're looking into getting brand registry for the US. So I hope this will be useful. Okay, so let me now stop sharing my screen and then provide some of the links that I shared about. And then I'll share my screen to talk about the next steps. One second. Okay, so yes, Soumya, let me put in the link for the registrar core. There you go. Done. And then for the Q&A segment, I can see that we're getting quite a lot of, yeah. Okay, cool. I can see that it's already being answered. Thanks so much, EJ, for your help. Okay, so let me now take the chance to actually share with you some of the links that I sent the QR code earlier. And you guys can keep your questions coming. Actually, just curious, since I have you guys here, participants, can I know, like, if you're from Malaysia, can you just quickly put in like a MY in the chat box? I just want to have like a rough idea of who the audience today and where you guys are from. If you don't mind just putting in, I know for Jason, because I'm chatting with you, but for the rest of you, do you mind putting in where you're from? Okay, Alex, Singapore, SG, okay. Tom is MY, yeah. Yeah, keep it coming, yeah. Just trying to find out like where you guys are from. Okay, cool. So we have some Singapore sellers, some Malaysia sellers. I'm also curious to find out, since I have you guys, before I share my screen, what made you interested to sell on Amazon? Did you actually hear about Amazon through a referral? Did you self-study about Amazon, or did you have a trainer? I'd love to know what was your motivation to come on Amazon. So if you don't mind putting that in, I'll prepare sharing my screen to run through the rest of the topics. Yep, just feel free to put it into the chat box because I'm just like reading them. So Alex, you came from a trainer. Cool, okay. Yeah, we know like one trainer in Singapore who's currently not doing training sessions anymore. So I'm just curious like how you guys got started. So if you don't mind sharing, happy to see that. Okay, dokes, let's get started. I'll share my screen again. Tom is also from trainer. Okay, okay. Then I'm quite familiar then. Okay. All right. So let me get started. The first thing that I shared, and I'll be putting it into the chat box just in case you guys missed it. Cool. Is the 50-day guide to help sellers succeed on Amazon. So we actually cover everything from how to start selling on Amazon, understanding the laws and regulations in the US market. So if you're looking into like what can be sold, what is restricted, you can have a look here as well. Some seller university materials, you can actually look in this link. And then we have account management support. So if you do not already know, you are eligible for one-to-one account management support. If you have not been contacted by anyone, kindly put your email and then we'll try to see who's your account manager. If you are a brand owner, we highly recommend that you also enroll in brand registry. But brand registry should only be done after you've already got trademark for your brand because you're a brand owner. And as I mentioned earlier, you should do it in the countries that you already intend to sell in. So if you intend to sell in US, you need to make sure that you have US trademark. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you already have the approval, see whether your product is eligible or not. Let me see if I can put in here, which is the restricted guide. Yeah, and also there's also a video guide on how you can start getting listed and how you can actually optimize your product listing. So there's also like how you can create the listing and how you can optimize it. So this is a very useful guide, I would say, for new sellers that I highly recommend you to use. And there's a few more that we put from day 1 all the way till 50. Okay, and then so Regina was asking about how do we link our global Shopify web store with Amazon, and how can we enable FBA to fulfill the orders from Shopify? I think you're talking about API integration with Shopify. Can I clarify? Because I'll have to look into this. If I'm not wrong, we don't existingly have like a API integration with them yet. Yeah, maybe if you can give me more details, I can look into it. Anyway, back to the slide. So this is the 50-day guide that we've shared across. We also have the listing guide. So the listing guide for new sellers, this is actually really awesome if you're really looking for like a step-by-step kind of approach to get started. So we share all the way down. Yeah, I don't think we have an API integration for that yet, Regina. So if there's any update on that, we recently had a webinar with them actually. Maybe we can actually shed some light. But yeah, for now there isn't that I know of. So you can actually get content from a listing under a brand name, all the way to matching and creating a listing, some common FAQs here. So some common questions that we get is, you're a brand owner and private labeler, what should you do? You should check if you have a US or SG trademark. So then you can check your eligibility. If you do not have any brand name, you can actually just proceed to listing your product. So this is whether you're a reseller or something, you can actually choose that path. And then if you already have a registered trademark, you can actually download the guide on how you can do your brand registry. And then you can proceed to list your product. So every step here comes with like a hyperlink that you can click on to make sure that you have the necessary instructions on how to move to the next step. Now, you might reach a point where you face error 5665. If this happens, you need to raise a case with seller support, and also you can use this GTI and exemption request titling. Let me also put this listing file inside. There we go. So you guys should have access to both of these files. Okay. And then you also want to make sure that the product that you're selling, do you already have the approval? And if you do not have any approval, we actually share with you on how you can get like that manufacturer code and barcode for your product. Or if it's already available on the Amazon catalog, once you put up the listing, you can actually start matching it. And you also want to start comparing the prices after that, just to make sure that you are competitive with what's in the market. And then if you do not have a manufacturer barcode, then you will need to apply for your GTI and exemption. And then we actually provided the tips on how you can do that here. And then we also list a bunch of like FAQs that we get. So if you have any questions, you can ask. So the next part after listing is actually to ship your goods. And then after that, you go into FBA. I'll now put the link for FBA here. Okay, so fulfillment by Amazon, like I said, it's really fully managed from the Amazon's end itself. All you have to do is make sure that your goods get shipped to the fulfillment center in the US. I know for some of you guys, especially if you're doing like big amounts, the pricing right now out there is quite pricey. But if you start planning early, and you start a shipment option via sea, I think that's still something that is quite manageable. And think about it, at the end of the day, your profit from the sale of your products should also cover the cost of the goods that you are intending to sell, as well as the shipping fee and the ad fee. So it's just something to take into consideration as a new seller. We put in the steps on how to get started in FBA. I'll just quickly run through this since we have a bit of time. You want to make sure that you get registered as an Amazon seller. You want to create a product listing. Prepare your products to send to the Amazon Fulfillment Center. Just a note of warning, you cannot choose which fulfillment center. This is pre-assigned. You can only put the marketplace you want to ship to. You assign the inventory unit number to the FBA, and you can create your shipment to your fulfillment center from that. Okay. I see two more questions. Oh, okay, I've already answered those questions. Okay, all good. Now we'll go into pricing. So as a new seller, you also need to be aware of the different pricing that is available when you want to start selling on Amazon. So this will cover things like the selling plan, referral fees, fulfillment fees, and other costs. So you just need to make sure that you're aware of the other costs involved to start selling on Amazon. So let me just quickly run through this. The new seller incentives, as I've shared, is for your first 90 days. Ultimately, we want all sellers to have perfect launch, and to have perfect launch, you need to have brand registry, A+ content, fulfillment by Amazon, automated pricing, and advertising. And that is like the perfect formula for you as a new seller. And we also want success for you as a seller. So you want to make sure that you can get at least 5% back on your first 1 million in branded sales. It's something to look at. We covered a few other things on the NSI here, and selling plans. So when you have professional selling plan compared to individual, you actually get access to like business reports, you get access to like selling tools like API, like you also get advanced selling tools, and you also get access to products in restricted categories. But if you choose not to sell under professional, then it's about 99 cents per item sold. So really consider this when you're making your decision on which plan or whether you decide to downgrade. We highly do not encourage you to do that because there's so much more benefit to being a professional Amazon seller. And then we also have this revenue calculator here. This revenue calculator, it can actually work out for you like based on the cost that you're putting in, the selling price of your product, the cost based on the cost price, we actually will share with you based on other elements that you need to consider for your business within the revenue calculator itself. So you can check this out. And then we also have different referral fees based on the product that you intend to sell. So these are the different categories that you can find. I think one of the lowest one is like books category, but for used books we do not support, so we're talking about like new books for this case. Yeah, there's a few other categories that you can find here. And lastly, fulfillment fees. So to use fulfillment by Amazon is actually done based on the sizing tier, the shipping weight, and also it goes into fulfillment fee per unit. So just take note of this cost, because to do fulfillment by Amazon, all these costs is actually quite it's actually quite important for you to know, so that you can plan better when you're doing your revenue calculation. Also, your profit margin will be affected by this. So yeah, so just some different fees that you can look into it. One more thing I want you guys to take note is that FBA storage fees, they actually vary depending on the period that you will ship your goods. So January to September, you actually have about 75 cents per cubic foot for standard size. A t-shirt is, for example, a standard size. And then October to December, you're about 240. This is because it's like a bigger sales period. So you just need to take note of that fee change. And yeah, so these are some estimations. So like I said, the standard size is like a t-shirt, so you have a better idea. But yeah, as a seller, there's a lot of other fees that you need to also consider: inventory, high volume listing fee, refund administration fee, liquidation fee. So there's a few other things that you can take note of when you are selling on Amazon. And we have a question. So Soumya was saying, we are a Singapore registered company. Anyway, we can sell to Malaysia customers via Amazon. I do not see Malaysia listed under sell globally. Yeah, right now there is no way to sell to Malaysia via Amazon. You can sell from Malaysia to the Singapore, but not the other way around. Yeah, so we don't have like a amazon.my. It's only amazon.sg for now. So we are in Singapore, Australia, Japan, Europe, UK, as well as the US, Canada, and Mexico. So I think next up we have like Middle East that's coming up. However, you can enable global shipping under the multi-channel fulfillment. So this is something that you can have a look at.
So let me just add on to what Reen has just said. So technically, let's say because we are under global Amazon US team, right? So let's say if you list your product under Amazon.com, you can actually allow your listing to be purchased by customers from all over the world by enabling the global shipping. So yeah, you can just, so technically customers from Malaysia can buy your product from Amazon.com, but you just need to enable that listing. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's under Sell Globally, but we do not have a specific marketplace for Malaysia, if that's what you're asking also. Okay, thanks, Soumya, for that question. Okay, so I just wanted to check if there's any more other questions. Yeah. That we can get that started. So I think I've already covered quite the bulk of selling on Amazon. What we have next is more to do with like making sure that once you're already on Amazon, you want to actually grow your brand on the site itself. So if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to answer. But for now, I've also put in a link for you to refer to. Yeah, feel free to put your questions. If not, I've put in a few materials here during this webinar. Feel free to click on them. And if you have any questions, you can also email us directly. You should all have account manager in place. If you do not know who your account manager is, you can put in the Q&A your email, and then we can find out who it is for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this open for like 5 more minutes, and then I'll put this event to a close. So we have a question on if the product is in powder form, it is already sealed in a bag and in a tin, do I need to prep further? So I think with regards to this requirement, we need to also make sure that your products that are available, is it even a restricted product or not? What exactly is this powder? But yeah, there are actually specific indications on how you should pack and seal your product. Let me see if I can find that link and put it in for you. Tom, I put the links in the chat box, so you can just click on them. I shared it with everyone. There are specific packing mechanisms that you need to take note of. Okay, so send. Yeah, so for Tom, you can actually find the information online. Okay, dokes. Right, all right, I don't see any more new questions coming up. I think we are good to put this event to a close. Let me just share the last few slides that I have. And by the way, thanks so much for sharing what was your motivation to come sell on Amazon. I'll be sure to put this information into good use. Okay, so here are a few more Facebook groups that you guys can join with other sellers. You can actually have an active discussion there as well. And we also share some of our marketing information here on this platform. We also have the Amazon Global Selling Training Portal. We highly recommend this for a new seller because we actually provide like step-by-step approach on how you can learn more about selling on Amazon. So you can actually use this QR code to scan into the ATP. And if you have any further questions, you can reach out to this email. You can also check out our Amazon Global Selling website where we update all our upcoming events and also recordings of past webinars. And we also have our Amazon Facebook page where you can actually receive tips and advices for selling on Amazon. You can also scan this QR code for the next AMA session, and you can put in your questions that you want to ask for the next time in the field there as well. All right. That's it for today. I'm really thankful for my colleague Ijeh for helping out with some of the questions today. And thank you so much, everyone, for all your questions. Really appreciate it. If you have any query, feel free to join us in the next session, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.